And when David and his men had arrived at Ziklag on the third day, the Amalekites had made an attack on the south side against Ziklag. And they had struck Ziklag, and burned it with fire. And they had led the women in it away as captives, from the small to the great. And they had not killed anyone, but they led them away with them. And then they traveled on their journey. Therefore, when David and his men had arrived at the city, and had found it burned with fire, and that their wives and their sons and daughters had been led away as captives, David and the people who were with him lifted up their voices. And they mourned until the tears in them failed. For indeed, the two wives of David also had been led away as captives, Ahinoam, the Jezreelite, and Abigail, the wife of Nabal of Carmel. And David was greatly saddened. And the people were willing to stone him, because the soul of every man was bitter over his sons and daughters. But David was strengthened by the Lord his God. And he said to the priest Abiathar, the son of Ahimelech, bring the ephod to me. And Abiathar brought the ephod to David. And David consulted the Lord, saying, shall I pursue these robbers, and will I overtake them, or not? And the Lord said to him, pursue. For without doubt, you will overtake them and find the prey. Therefore, David went away, he and the 600 men who were with him, and they arrived as far as the torrent Besor. And certain ones, being weary, stayed there. But David pursued, he and 400 men. For 200 stayed, who, being weary, were not able to cross the torrent Besor. And they found an Egyptian man in the field, and they led him to David. And they gave him bread, so that he might eat, and water, so that he might drink. And also a section of a mass of dried figs, and 2 clusters of dried grapes. And when he had eaten, his spirit returned, and he was refreshed. For he had not eaten bread, nor drank water, for 3 days and 3 nights. And so David said to him, to whom do you belong? Or where are you from? And where are you going? And he said, I am a young man of Egypt, the servant of an Amalekite man. But my Lord abandoned me, because I began to be sick the day before yesterday. For indeed, we broke forth to the southern side of Cherethy, and against Judah, and to the south of Caleb, and we burned Ziklag with fire. And David said to him, are you able to lead me to this battle line? And he said, swear to me by God that you will not kill me, and that you will not deliver me into the hands of my Lord, and I will lead you to this battle line. And David swore to him. And when he had led him, behold, they were stretched out on the face of the land everywhere, eating and drinking and celebrating, as if it were a feast day, because of all the prey and spoils that they had taken from the land of the Philistines, and from the land of Judah. And David struck them down from evening until the evening of the next day. And no one among them escaped, except 400 youths, who had climbed on camels and fled. Therefore, David rescued all that the Amalekites had taken, and he rescued his 2 wives. And nothing was missing, from small even to great, among the sons and daughters, and among the spoils, and among everything whatsoever that they had seized. David returned it all. And he took all the flocks and the herds, and he drove them before his face. And they said, this is the prey of David. Then David arrived at the 200 men, who, being weary, had stayed, for they had not been able to follow David, and he had ordered them to remain at the torrent Besor. And they went out to meet David, and the people who were with him. Then David, drawing near to the people, greeted them peacefully. And all the wicked and iniquitous men, out of the men who had gone with David, responding, said, since they did not go with us, we will not give to them anything from the prey that we have rescued. But let his wife and children be enough for each of them. When they have accepted this, they may go back. But David said, you shall not do this, my brothers, with these things that the Lord has delivered to us, for he has preserved us, and he has given into our hands the robbers who broke out among us. And so, let no one heed you over these words. But equal shall be the portion of him who descended to the battle, and of him who remained with the supplies, and they will divide it alike. And this has been done from that day and thereafter. And it was established as a statute, and as if a law, in Israel even to this day. Then David went to Ziklag, and he sent gifts from the prey to the elders of Judah, his neighbors, saying, receive a blessing from the prey of the enemies of the Lord. To those who were in Bethel, and who were in Ramoth toward the south, and who were in Jatir, and who were in Aroer, and who were in Siphmoth, and who were in Eshtemoa, and who were in Rachel, and who were in the cities of Jerahmeel, and who were in the cities of Kenny, and who were in Hormah, and who were at the lake of Ashan, and who were in Athach, and who were in Hebron, and to the remainder who were in those places where David had stayed, he and his men.